Hey everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're making one of my favorite dishes, and my sons love this one too. It's called Basil Chicken. The real name of the dish was Basil Curry Chicken, and I dropped the curry word because my husband doesn't like curry, and if it said curry in the title, he wouldn't even try it. But he eats this one. It's not his favorite, but he'll eat it because he doesn't know there's curry in it. So anyway, that'll be our little secret. But it's a really good one. It's kind of a Middle Eastern dish. It's got a little fresh jalapeno in it, some red onion, coconut milk, seasonings. Really easy to come together. Sear the chicken, cut it in tenders, make your gravy, simmer it, or you can simmer it on the stove or pop it in the oven. I usually pop mine in the oven because I just like to put it in the oven and walk away. But it's tasty. So we're going to get busy with that. And I just realized I have my milking stuff hanging and my milk pail. That was kind of dumb. I usually clean all that stuff up before I do a video, and I just wasn't paying enough attention. So anyway, we're going to get busy. So I'll get the camera flipped down and we'll get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is salt and pepper your boneless, skinless thighs. I keep saying I'm going to try this with bone in, and I think it would be fantastic. I mean, bone in makes everything better. I just haven't done it yet. And I should have done it this time, but I guess maybe testing out a recipe while I'm doing a video to teach y'all how to do something is probably not the wisest thing to do. But anyway, so literally salt and pepper it like you would an egg. I've got a skillet over here with a little lard in it. It's actually got a little butter in it too, and that's fine. It's from this morning. And I'm going to sear my thighs. You don't want to crowd them in the pan, so I'll probably do 3 small ones and then 2. And you're going to cook them about 3 or 4 minutes on each side. Just sear it to get it kind of a little brown, flip it, sear it, take it out, and put it in your baking dish. So that's all there is to that. But one thing I wanted to show you before I turn the skillet on and it starts making all kinds of obnoxious noise. You need well, let me back up. I'm doing half a recipe. So everything I'm doing, will be in half. So don't let that weird you out. But the recipe calls for 2 pounds of chicken. I've got 1. It's just me and the hubs, so I'm not doing a ton. Although this freezes super, super good. So I could have easily done it double and put half in the freezer. But I had a 1 pound package, so I'm rocking with it. But what I want to show you, but. The recipe calls for 2 jalapenos seeded and finely chopped. I will take, when I can get jalapenos during the summer and they are in season and they're inexpensive and they're fresh and they're amazing, I like to buy tons of them and make salsa and make cowboy candy and all kinds of things. But I also throw some whole fresh jalapenos in a Ziploc bag and toss them in the freezer. I don't blanch them. I don't wash them. I don't do anything to them except freeze them. 4 things exactly like this. So when it calls for, now it's a little mushy, so I'm not going to cut this up and put it on something that you'd want a fresh, crunchy jalapeno because it wouldn't be crunchy. But for a dish that you're going to cook it in, heck yeah, it works perfect. So I took this out yesterday and just set it in my refrigerator, took it out of the Ziploc bag, let it thaw out, and then cut it up, and there we go. No biggie. Now you know how I am about prep ahead and have all kinds of things chopped in the freezer. You can definitely, cut and seed and chop fresh jalapenos when they're in season in the summer and freeze them in different amounts. But I have found that my recipes vary so much. Sometimes it'll be a measurement, sometimes it'll be a jalapeno, that it just, for me, works better just to do the whole pepper. So that's what I've done. So this is our little fresh jalapeno that will go into the gravy when we get to that point in a minute. And one other thing, real quick. It doesn't freak me out to cut up this jalapeno on top of a cutting board that I've had raw chicken on. If you watch stuff on TV, these celebrity chefs will make you think you're going to die a violent and bloody death if you do this. So stupid. No, you won't. This is going to be cooked. This is going to be cooked. So any cooties that may be on there, which if you have good quality food, you're not really going to have cooties, are going to be killed in the heat process. Now, I'm not going to lay a bunch of raw chicken on my chopping board, season it, start frying it, and then cut up a fresh tomato to throw in a salad. I'm not going to do that. But if I'm cooking the ingredient in the dish, it's good. It's all fine. So, enough of my ranting. I am going to get my skillet fired up, sear my thighs, and I'll be right back and show y'all what it looks like, but I won't make you listen to all the popping. Okay, so I'm done with the chicken, and hopefully you can see. You just see how it's kind of seared and browned, but you can tell it's not cooked. And that's okay. We're not trying to cook it at that step. We're just giving it a nice brown coat, and then it's going to get popped in the oven. So what we'll do now is take our jalapeno that we cut up, and then, again, I'm doing a half a recipe, but if you do the full recipe, you'll cut up a 1/4 pound of red onion. So I chopped that up. And that's going to go in the skillet and just saute until it's soft. So I'm going to get things flipped around so you can see. And once that's soft, we turn the heat off. We'll add our coconut milk and then add our seasonings, which I went ahead and measured out because I figured y'all don't need to see me with a measuring spoon. But it's 2 tablespoons of dried basil, 2 teaspoons of salt, 3/4 of a teaspoon of pepper, a tablespoon and a half of curry. So half of a tablespoon is 1.5 teaspoons. So you need a tablespoon plus 1.5 teaspoons of curry if you're doing the full recipe. Half teaspoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of ginger. And then I've got my minced garlic over here, and then we'll get some arrowroot as our last step. So literally, we're going to soften these vegetables, dump everything together, whisk in our arrowroot to thicken it up, which you don't have to do. I like my gravies a little thicker. I want them to stick to my noodles or potatoes or rice or whatever, not kind of run through it. So you could skip the arrowroot step if you didn't have it or didn't care. And then we'll put that over our chicken that we're going to cut into tenders. I'm letting it cool so that I can do that. While the sauce is doing, I'll cut this in tenders. And then it goes in the oven, 325 for 30 minutes. It could not be easier. Okay, so there's my skillet I just pulled my chicken out of. I'm going to get my, it's got a little bit of the lard and there's a little butter left in there. Get my vegetables scraped off in there and let them, just saute them for a few minutes. Get off of there. Until they're softened. And I'm going to scrape up these little chicken bits that stuck. Because, leave no food behind. And that's got good taste, good nutrition, good stuff. So I'm going to turn my heat down a little bit, just kind of to a medium, and let this simmer a little bit. Once these are soft, we'll add our other ingredients. But I wanted to show you this too. So here's my coconut milk. I got this out of the freezer yesterday and just set it in the refrigerator and let it thaw. This was half of a can that I had used on a different recipe that I didn't need the whole can. So I put half of it in there, marked it, and now voila, it's perfect for this recipe. If you are doing a full recipe, then you're going to use a full 13.5 ounce can, because that's what they come in for whatever bizarre reason, of coconut milk. But since I'm doing half, technically I would need a little less than 8 ounces, but I'm just going to use this. It's not going to hurt anything at all. Okay, these are getting very aromatic. You can see the onions are starting to get a little translucent. The peppers get a little bit darker. So we'll just give them another minute or two, and then we'll move to the next step. I'm going to go ahead and grab a glove and cut my chicken tenders. Okay, so I think you can see this. My tenders are cool enough. The way I do it, I take kind of the long end of the chicken and just usually cut it in 3 pieces. And that's how I make my chicken tenders. If you have a little tiny skinny piece, then maybe you only cut it in half. If you got an extra big piece, you know, this is kind of one of those, this is your dish, your kitchen, your rules, your way, whatever you want to do it. I'm going to lay this back down in the dish. And the chicken, while it's sitting in that dish cooling, releases some liquids, some of the fat and some of the juice out of the meat. And I don't dump that. I leave that in there and just, you know, rock on with it. Okay, and my onions, you can see they're pretty translucent. Peppers are darkened up. So like that one, I'm just going to cut in half. So this dish will easily, made as the recipe says, serve 8 people. I mean, doing a half like I just did, I mean, I may wind up freezing some after all. Serve the hubs and I tonight, and then pop some in the freezer, and we'll have it again later. But anyway, okay, so there's my sauteed vegetables. I turned the heat off. I'm going to add my coconut milk. And I'll tell you what, oh, that was louder than I meant to be. I'm going to switch to a whisk just to get my seasonings whisked in good. And one thing, if you notice, I don't know if you can see it very well, but the fat in the coconut milk kind of separated because of the freezing. That does not matter. It happens the same with any kind of fatty milk, whether it's milk, you know, dairy milk, coconut milk, cheese, any of those. If you freeze them, when they thaw, the butter fat or the fat wants to separate. It doesn't matter. It'll cook just fine. It'll go back together. Everything will be great. This smells like heaven. I'm going to serve this tonight over, I think I've got some rice noodles, and I really like those, so I'm going to do that. If I don't have the rice noodles, then I may use ramen. If I don't have that, I'll probably just use rice, because that's, the hubs really likes rice. I really like the noodles, so whatever. All right, so there's all my seasonings in there. Now we're going to get our minced garlic mixed in. This is good stuff. And then I'll grab my arrowroot. I hadn't grabbed that yet. And the one thing you want to do, arrowroot, you want to mix it into cold water and then add it to this. If you sprinkle it straight in here, it tends to clump, and then you'll have little gummy lumps in your gravy, and nobody likes that. So I'll take 2 tablespoons of arrowroot, and I'll just put it in the same little bowl I had the seasonings. I'll add 2 tablespoons of cold water. I'll whisk it and then dump it in here. So let me grab the arrowroot out of the cabinet, and we will do that. And then it all gets poured over the chicken. Cover it tightly with foil and in the oven for half an hour on 325. Okay, so I've got my 2 tablespoons of arrowroot, and here's my 2 tablespoons of water. And you want to be stirring the whole time that you're adding it. You don't want to just dump water and then pick up a spoon and start stirring it, because like I said, this stuff will lump up in a New York second. And it's real easy to get it smooth if you're stirring the whole time. But if you pour and then try to stir, you may wind up with a bunch of gummy little lumps. And it doesn't look thick, but you'll be surprised what it'll do to your gravy to just give it a thicker texture. All right, that's good. So now I'm going to add this in here. And you want to just, I don't know if you can tell on the video, the texture of the gravy's already changed. And when it gets in the oven, it'll change even more. All right, so that's mixed good. Move my dirty dishes, get my chicken. Now I'm going to take this and just pour it all over the top. Y'all, this stuff smells like heaven. If you've got anybody in your family that likes, you know, Indian or Turkish, Middle Eastern, those types of foods, they'll love this. My son is, he loves Indian food. and he just thinks this is the greatest thing ever. And I dig it too. It's just a really, really nice flavor. And with the, good organic chicken, if you can do that, and the coconut milk gives it some good saturated fat, then you are fixed up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this piece of foil over here and just kind of crimp it around the edges, because you want to keep the steam in while this is cooking. I have a lid and I'm going to set it on top, but the foil keeps the steam in much better than just this glass lid by itself would. But there's no foil touching my food. You know how I am about foil on my food. So this is going to go in the oven, like I mentioned, 30 minutes on 325, and then I'll show you the final product. Okay, so the chicken has come out of the oven, and there it is. See, the sauce has gotten thicker, which is just the way I like it to be. But again, if you don't like it thick like that, you can leave the arrowroot out, and it'll just be, more coconut milky. But that's it. God, it smells good. So I am making these, and we are going to serve that over those, and it's going to be amazing. So y'all give it a shot and let me know what you think.